Okay, viewers, so we'll discuss today one very important topic and very interesting also, and that is ethical dilemma or dilemma. So ethics is a very interesting topic because wherever it is individual or in organization, wherever you go, there we use this word ethics to perform better, to perform efficiently, and to see the result. And if you have attention in result, in getting some result out of the activities, so we need the word ethics. And ethics is coming from morals or values. So that means, like, say, if a person do not have the value, do not have the morals, then definitely he will not be in a position to follow the word ethics. So the ethics and morals are very interrelated, and we need to understand the first word is moral, and moral is nothing just the relationship between belief and belief. That means an individual, suppose for example, an individual he is having some like development through the education system, through different input supply system. That means he is getting lot of information and lot of inputs from different sources, like schools, education system, like from different other sources like newspapers, magazine, nowadays social media. So he is gathering a lot of information. So out of the information, he is gathering those information which may be like enhancing his knowledge base, and out of the knowledge base, and from that knowledge base, he is getting the different types of dimensions in life. So in that dimensions, sometimes he is to believe some beliefs, and sometimes he is to believe some good beliefs also. That means, like, from their parents, from their families, from their relatives, from the neighbors, from the society as a whole. So in the whole aspect, if we see an individual who is getting this type of information, this type of belief, and forming his own foundation, if he is getting positive information, good information and right information, and believing the right beliefs, then definitely he is getting good foundation. That means he is building up a good foundation in his life, and having good foundation makes good morals, and good morals is related to good value. And ultimately, if a person who is having a good moral, good value, definitely he will think about ethics, he will follow the word ethics, and that ethics is related to what? That, like, say, how to decide which is right, which is wrong, which is good, which is bad. That means a person, he need to understand whether he is in business, whether he is in an organization, whether he is in a family. He need to understand what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. And in between this, or in among these words, like, whenever he is in a position to understand the word, like, say, ethics, to decide, that means at the time of making decision at different levels, in personal level or in business or in your organization, in any means, like, say, a kind of activities. So decision making process is very important, and at the time of making decision, the person always is to be in a dilemma, like, say, what to do, how to do, and whether I should do or not. That is called dilemma. That means that dilemma, to pass out, to overcome this dilemma, we need to understand the ethical dilemma, and that ethical dilemma is having this particular aspect, that is, okay, whether the person is deciding right or deciding wrong. That means sometimes we face such type of situation, like, say, you are facing, or I am facing a situation that, like, say, someone is asking for some favor, someone is asking for some means, like, say, activities, or, like, say, some other activities also, that how to decide. That means whether I should help him or not, whether I should do the activity or not, whether I should pay him or whether I should not pay him, whether I should give attention to him or not. So in that type of situation, we need to decide which decision will be the right decision. And at the time of taking decision, sometimes we need to find which wrong versus wrong, right versus wrong, and right versus wrong also, right also. So when we are in a position, that means there are, like, say, problems. What is the problem? That means you are thinking, like, say, something is right and something is wrong. That means in one side there are some, like, say, decision which is saying something about right, and in some places there are something which is wrong. Then in between these two, right and wrong, you are in a dilemma, and that dilemma is called ethical dilemma problem. That means you are in a problem. That means you need to choose the right thing, but you are also facing the wrong things. That means you are facing the wrong decision also, you are facing the right decision also. And how to and where to, that means whether you are in a position to decide that right or wrong, that means you are in a problem. The second thing is your choice. That means what choice? You are in like right versus right. Right versus means someone is saying, let's say it is right, someone is saying, some other is also saying the right things. Some situation is that, let's say, it is also right, and some other situation is also there that which is also right. So in this situation, you are in choice. That means what to choose, what to choose, and that time you have to think. You need to think about which one which is giving you better good. That means the right one, the right choice, the right decision to be taken. Which decision will help you? Which decision will help your organization, your family, that to get better good, and that better good is very important for deciding. And thirdly, the dilemma. Which is dilemma? That means one is right and the other is wrong. But the thing is, I say that in that type of situation, everyone is facing, everyone is means finding this type of problem. So in that type of situation, we are in like dilemma, and that dilemma is, suppose for example, a person is asking for a favor. Suppose he is working in a company and he is working in one organization, and you are in a position to grant some or sanction some amount of money, and the thing is, let's say, for getting some contract or like this, but he is also a friend of you. In that type of situation, but two companies are giving, means let's say, tender to that particular activity, and the one company which is from your own friend or your from family friends, then whom to decide? But you think, let's say, your company is getting benefit out of which one? Company is getting benefit out of both. Both are giving a benefit to the company, both are giving the benefit to the organization. But thing is, let's say, one company is means like say owned by your friend, owned by your relatives, or owned by your family friends. Then at that time you are in a dilemma. That means both are right. Your friend is also giving opportunity to the organization, friend is also giving opportunity to the company, but other company which is not your friend's company, not known to you, that means a very new company for you, they are also giving benefit to the organization. So in that type of situation, you need to think that which is giving more and more benefit to the company. And at that time, you need not to think about that, like say he is a friend, so I should help him. So you may think like say that, like say, yes, I should give favor to him, I should give favor to him because he is my friend, he is my family friend. But at that time, you need to be very cautious about taking decision, because which is giving you better good out of it. So that dilemma to be passed, and that dilemma who fail to take a good decision out of this dilemma, then he will be definitely in trouble in the near future. So that is why we should be very cautious about taking decision and taking.
I'm sorry.
Final question? Okay. Then you see, generally this problem, choice, and the dilemma, and then we'll see one picture. That picture is showing that, like say, it is showing that like one train is coming, and there are two situations. There are two tracks in that, means like through which we can see that, like say, the which track to be followed by the train. So in this situation, we have to see that, like say, which is minimizing the loss, which is minimizing the loss. That means we need to follow that path only where we can get minimum loss, because you have to run the train. Which route? In which route? Which is giving us less or minimum loss. Then you see, means we have situation like right versus wrong, right versus right, wrong versus wrong, and that is dilemma. And if you see that, like say, that we have to see the situation first. That means the perspectives of decision. That means we have options here. So that option need to be taken care. And the thing is the choice of action. Which action to be? Choose the right action. That means right versus right, right versus wrong. That means the right is there and wrong is there. Definitely we need to think about the right one. So we need not to go for wrong one, because the right one is giving the benefit, the wrong one is not giving the benefit, because wrong one may give the benefit to others who is actually indulging you, who may force you to do like this. So then right versus right. So right versus right is, as I told you like earlier also, that means which is giving you the greater good or better good. Then the wrong versus wrong. Wrong versus wrong means The situation is like this. I'm just giving one again situation. The situation is like this. One bank manager. The bank manager found that, let's say, one borrower is coming to the bank, and the borrower is asking for a certain amount of loan. He is proposing a loan, and the bank branch manager, after appraisal of the whole proposal, he found that, like say, there is some wrong in the proposal. But thing is, like say, that in the situation, the borrower who is coming for taking loan, he is recommended by the board of director of the bank. The situation, you just try to understand the situation. The borrower is recommended. Borrower is one kind of recommended borrower of the board of director, and at the same time, you found that, like, the borrower is not a correct borrower, or borrower is not a, let's say, appraised borrower. That means he has some default, he has some, like say, misconduct in the banking. He already took some loan from other banks. He's already a defaulter of a bank. He do not have the soundness, financial soundness in a banking system. So in that situation, the person who is a bank manager, who is a, let's say, bank employee, that means loan officer, he need to take a very right decision, because he need to make the proper strategy. That proper strategy will be whatever proper strategy will be there. That time the bank manager need to see whether the person is recommended by the board of director, and if the person is recommended by the board of director, so definitely the board of director will be in favor of the person who is getting or who is proposing for the loan. So in that type of situation, what we need to think, what the branch manager should decide, or what the loan officer should decide, that he need to take a strategy. The strategy will be very simple, that he need to recommend the board of director for the guarantor of the borrower. That means the borrower is in doubt, so we need to go for guarantor of the borrower. And once you say in front of the board of director, let's say, the bank need guarantor of the borrower or the loan amount, then definitely board of director will see and think about the situation. Then board of director will think, let's say, yes, the branch manager is doing the well, loan officer is doing the well, because the loan officer is trying to minimize the loss. And that situation is called the dilemma. Now we have some situations, as I explained in the case of the company. So ethical courage. Now ethical courage. How to see the courage? Courage means how to develop our own capacity to take or make decisions. So that conduct or ethical conduct and courage to be made, and courage can help to overcome such fear. That means every individual, whoever is working there in an organization, in companies, or in, like, say, government sector, or in your family also, in our families also, we have a fear. That means fear is fear of trust, fear of conflict. There may be some conflict because of this, like such type of situation, who is encouraging the person to do some wrong decision or to take the wrong decision. So in that type of situation, so we definitely follow certain point, that like trust, and that is called fear of mistrust, fear of conflict, fear of miscommunication. So all this fear to be overcome, and once you take the right decision, right action out of the conflict, out of the dilemma, then definitely the fear will be overcome and your courage will be there. Now, see how to pump up ourselves. That means to build the courage, some particular activities to be followed, and that is called communication, help, evidence, strategy, and training. And this is called chest. Pump up our chest. And this finally the safety and security. That means if we see the communication separately, then how to communicate to overcome this type of situation, how to communicate to avoid this type of situation. That means discuss with others about ethical standard and your thoughts and feelings. That means we need to discuss. Sometimes we may face such type of problem. That means you are in a means like say situation that you fail to take decision, you fail to make good decisions also, and that time you need to discuss, and with whom discuss. That means you have to think and you have to update yourself. That means, as I said, like say, who fails to make good decision, who is not taking a good decision, who is actually not aware about the situation. He attempted the situation for the first time. That time you are in a situation of not decisive, that means indecisive situation. To overcome this type of situation, definitely you need to update yourself and you need to make awareness about such type of situation, that like say, this type of situation may come in my life, may come in my organization, may come in my family, may come in my society, etc. So then the languages, that means the languages, that means because you know communication depends on your, most of the time, your verbal communication. That means most of the time, generally, what type of communication we follow? Most of the time we follow the verbal communication, not the written communication. Because finally, if it is required, then only we used to write. But before that, we used to do verbal communication. And at the time of verbal communication, we need to use our very simple language, which is to be understood by the audience. That means whoever are there in front of you, he or she should understand the language properly. He should understand your feelings also, your ideas, whatever ideas you are having, and that is required. And there is that, like say, simple language, clear language, or simple tools of using the language, or techniques of using the language is also avoiding or eliminating the thing, let's say, that you are not misinterpreting. That means, because if you are doing a lot of let's say complex languages, if you are using complexities in your expression, then definitely there will be misinterpretation. Because see, the audience who are there in front of you, he or she, or they need to understand you. First of all, they need to understand you. That means, you see, whom we like to listen more, whom you like to listen more, whom we love. Whom we love. That means whom we love, who is to communicate properly and clearly in simple languages with us. That like our parents. Just like our parents, because our parents used to communicate with us in a very, very simple and clear languages. So that's why we love to be with our parents, we love to be in a conversation with our parents. So in that type of situation, misinterpretation is avoided, misunderstanding is avoided if we use very simple and clear languages. Then you see help. Generally the help means asking for help and helping the others is a very what should I say, very old types of moral types of activities. That means if a person having the morals, if a person having the values, then definitely he will go for taking the help, or he will help others also. But seeking help from trusted individual. That means you need to take the help from a person who is actually in trust with you. That means always remember, we should not take, or we should not ask help from a stranger also. That means if a stranger is in front of you, if you are asking help from him, definitely you may not understand the intention of the person. So then understanding the intention is very important, and that means if you are giving help, the help also should be sound advice to others. That means it should be proper. It should be proper. That means I am giving advice. I am giving advice to a person. I am giving advice to a group of person. If I am giving the advice, that means it should be sound. That means it should be tested. That it should not based on some assumption. That yes, it should be like this. It may be like this. It happened like this. Such type of advice is not good. So the tested knowledge, if you have tested knowledge, if you have the wisdom, if you got the experiences out of any such type of experiences or experimentation, then only it is required to give. So that is called sound advice to others. And support group, that means if required, then we need to create some support group. That means sometimes complementary skills are there in individuals. So in that type of situation, the complementary skill to be used, and for using the complementary skills, we need to form group. And by creating group also, sometimes we take advantage of group, and sometimes it helps us in overcoming such type of situations, some complex situations when this type of situation comes, then definitely the complementary skills of others, let's say suppose I fail to understand some IT, I fail to understand some tools in IT. So that time the IT person, that means who is just very savvy in IT, then he may help us in taking decisions. So like this, creation of group is a very important strategy for taking and giving help. Then evidence. So evidence is very important. See, whenever we take decision, it should not be based on like assumption. Otherwise, I used to say like too much assumption is very dangerous. So it should be based on evidence, and that evidence means whatever unethical happenings are going on there in your organization, there in your society, there in your families, then we need to collect the evidences of the incidents, evidences of the whole happenings, whole event. Then it will be helpful for taking decision. That means evidence is also very important. Then strategy. So how to make strategy out of the situation. The strategy is basically what is the worst that can happen. That means sometimes the situation is like this, let's say it will happen. Definitely it will happen during some pandemic situation, during some emergency situation, during some natural calamities or like this such type of situation. It will happen, definitely happen. But how to make it less costly for the society, less costly for the people. That means sometimes it is if you are blind to your self benefit, that means if you are blind to your self benefit, then it is the best strategy to make or help the society. That means a person who is blind to his self benefit, then definitely he is thinking about the society's benefit. So that should be the motto of or strategy of making decision. That means how to deal the situation. Then training is a very integral part of making ourselves skill or efficient, because everything may not be taught in your schools, everything may not be taught in your family, everything may not be taught in your formal education system. That means sometimes we need to take the help of training of some organization, that means which is called external expert. That means experts are there externally, some experts may be hired and we can take the help of that expert. And there is also called knowledge and experience sharing. That means we need to create some group of some people who are in the same age, who are in the same background. So assembling or making such type of group and giving training to them is a very good strategy for overcoming this type of situation. Then safety and security. That means always we find one thing that who motivates us. Who motivates us? Sometimes we find some motivations are there from yourself, some motivations are there from external sources. But for self motivation, to be motivated by yourself, the safety is very important. Safety and security. That is, safety means we need to always, that means humans always think about their own safety. That means first individual safety, then their family safety, then their society safety. That means if we think, that means we need to be safe and we need to protect our own and the other safety if threatened by or different types of consequences. So that is why this type of activities are very important, and we need to overcome this type of situation by applying this type of exercise and practices. So ethical dilemma is means you cannot say it will not be there in your life, it will not be there in your organization, it will not be there in your family. Every day we face this type of situation, but we need to overcome by applying this type of techniques and tools. Thank you so much.